The Special Operations Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine confirmed the destruction of the S-400 Triumf launch system and an ammunition depot of the occupiers in Crimea, showing a video. The resistance movement of the Special Operations Forces, in cooperation with the deep strike units of the Special Operations Forces, struck enemy targets in the temporarily occupied territory of Crimea, the SSO statement reads. The final phase of the special operations, as noted, took place on October 6, 2025, but it was not disclosed for operational security. Representatives of the SSO resistance movement obtained intelligence about the location of the ammunition depot of the 18th Russian Army in the village of Yevpatoria, near Simferopol. Further special reconnaissance confirmed the location of the enemy arsenal. On the night of October 6, the ammunition depot was hit by SSO drones, the Special Operations Forces said. On the same day, SSO units destroyed the launch system of the mobile anti-aircraft missile system S-400 Triumf, the SSO reported. The air defense object, as noted, was located in the village of Bitumne near Yevpatoria. The S-400 is designed to detect and hit air targets at long distances. The enemy also uses this complex to strike at the territory of Ukraine. The Special Operations Forces continue asymmetric actions to totally exhaust the enemy from continuing offensive actions, the SSO emphasized. Furthermore, Ukrainian drones attacked the Hvardiiska oil depot and 2 trains with tanks. Oil depots and fuel and lubricants warehouses in Simferopol and the village of Bitumne were also hit. Units of the Special Operations Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine destroyed Russian logistics facilities in the temporarily occupied Crimea using drones. On the night of November 6, SSO drones of the Armed Forces of Ukraine attacked the Hvardiiska oil depot near the village of Hvardiiska. As a result, the S-400 tank was destroyed. At the time of the strike, it was full. In addition, 2 trains with tanks on the loading and unloading overpass were hit. At the time of the hit, the rolling stock was loaded with petroleum products. But that's not all. SSO drones hit several oil depots and fuel and lubricant warehouses in Simferopol and its surroundings, in the village of Bitumne. Reservoir park facilities were destroyed. The Kremlin has urged respect for the legitimate interests of Russian oil company Lukoil as a top-tier international commodities trader dropped plans to buy its international assets. According to Associated Press trading firm Gunvor, whose main trading office is in Geneva, announced on X that it's withdrawing its proposal to acquire the Lukoil assets, a deal that the Russian company announced last week. Lukoil said it agreed to the deal, pending some conditions including permission from the U.S. Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control, or OFAC. Terms of the deal were not specified. Violations in this area are unacceptable, as they undermine global trade regimes, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said. Peskov also said a potential summit between Russian President Vladimir Putin and U.S. President Donald Trump in Budapest needs to be well prepared on the expert level. In October, Trump announced he would meet again with Putin for negotiations on ending the conflict in Ukraine. and that Hungary's capital would provide the venue. But the meeting was soon scuttled, with Trump saying he didn't want a wasted meeting with Putin, who showed no signs of backing off his maximalist demands on the war. Yet officials in Budapest are still hopeful a Trump-Putin meeting could materialize. On Wednesday, Hungarian Foreign Minister Péter Szijjártó said in a press briefing that high on the agenda for Friday's meeting between visiting Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán and Trump in Washington, will be the possibility of making peace in Ukraine. If US-Russian preparatory work is successful, Hungary is ready to host a peace summit, he said. Peskov meanwhile also said that Russia respects the right of North Korea to ensure their security and take all necessary measures for it after South Korea's military said that Pyongyang on Friday fired a suspected short-range ballistic missile toward its eastern waters.
Все законные интересы крупной международной компании, в том числе и российской, как Лукойл, с точки зрения правил международных торговых и экономических отношений должны быть соблюдены. Нарушения в этой области неприемлемы, и они вредят общемировому режиму торговли. Это очень большой игрок на мировом. Мы считаем, что на определенном этапе, безусловно, саммит будет востребован обеими сторонами. Но этому саммиту должна предшествовать очень напряженная, скрупулезная экспертная работа. И здесь абсолютно наши американские коллеги с нами здесь соглашаются. Мы с уважением относимся к законному праву наших друзей в КНДР обеспечивать свою безопасность и принимать для этого необходимые меры. Что касается всех миротворческих инициатив на полуострове, то Россия приветствует только те шаги по нормализации ситуации, которые в полной мере отвечают интересам Корейской Народно-Демократической Республики.